This is crazy.
King Sally, the storm has hit the Gulf Coast. So what is next? What you need to know at this point.
Every time it rains, this Clay County community floods. What you see behind me is just a sample. The community has had enough.
Music returns to the Jacksonville Symphony Orchestra tonight.
I'm Dawn White, and I'll have more on what this means to musicians and the community on First Coast News.
This is First Coast News on your side.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Jeannie Blaylock with my co-anchors Anthony Austin and Heather Crawford. We start tonight with some breaking news at 5, and Anthony can tell you about that.
School police have detained a suspicious individual who was on our grounds, and they are conducting an investigation.
So that's a recording by Darnell Cookman School of the Medical Arts principal. That message sent out to parents after the school was placed on lockdown earlier today due to a reported threat. Now, this school is located in the Springfield area. In that recorded message, I listened to it earlier, the principal said a suspicious person was detained by school police. We are working to get more information for you. School leaders say no students or staff members were harmed. School dismissal continued as normal.
And we are back to tracking Sally tonight. The storm is packing a punch. It's brought intense flooding to parts of the Gulf Coast already. Sally was a Category 2 when it made landfall this morning near Gulf Shores, Alabama. The storm has caused significant damage around Mobile, and that includes knocking over an 18-wheeler. It was on I-10. It ripped a roof off a floor shot, lots of damage. The storm is also dumping catastrophic levels of rain on Pensacola, Florida. Roads and parking lots are flooded. The water has even sent some dumpsters you see right there just floating away as if they weigh nothing. Dozens of vehicles are also underwater this evening. Governor Ron DeSantis has declared a state of emergency now in 13 Northwest Florida counties. Sally right now has been downgraded to a tropical storm, but that does not mean her punch is gone at all. It's pulling away from Pensacola, but in Georgia, you're next. Columbus and Albany, Georgia, two places that could see a lot of water. Let's talk to Chief Meteorologist Tim.
Thank you, Jeannie, and that is pretty much the headline. So ground zero was this morning at about dawn, Gulf Shore, Alabama. That's between Mobile and Pensacola. The hardest hit area, Pensacola, because they were off to the right quadrant as we talk about. But now at least it's pulling away from the Mobile and Pensacola area. As Jeannie mentioned, basically pointed toward the Columbus, Albany region. The heaviest rains where you see these deep reds. Think now off to the north, northeast, and east of the center. So as the center progresses off to the northeast, the worst of the weather will do as well. We expect it to be down to a tropical depression by later on tonight. So by later on tonight, the main concern will be isolated tornadoes and the rains. In this general swath, about 6 to 10 inches of rain, maybe another foot. We're talking about large areas of inland portions of Alabama and Georgia and beyond. We're going to wrap it up for now. We'll bring it home in just a few moments.
All right, Tim, thanks. You know, we all want to be prepared, especially when it comes to hurricanes. So here's a good idea. Go to Hurricane Central. That's the section of our app and our website that's easy to find. There you will find a lot of resources, including a map that you can use to find your evacuation zone, because every time we have a hurricane here, our phones ring off the hook, people saying, I don't know my evacuation zone, and by that time they're in a panic. So do it in advance. That's a good idea. And there is also a list of what you should have in your emergency kit. It's a bit different this year because of the pandemic. Anthony?
And people in the Pine Island community are underwater, so to speak. So with all the rains, they have been dealing with flooded streets and flooded yards. In some areas, that water is so high they can't even walk out of their homes. On your sides, Ken Amaro is in the neighborhood tonight and says the problem, Ken, is poor drainage.
That's correct, Anthony. I'm here on Pine Glen Drive, and this is an example of what we're talking about. It hasn't even rained today, and look at this. Standing water there, standing water over here. And now the residents are saying they're having to deal with mosquito problems, all because the water is not draining off properly. Earlier today, I went over to the Pine Island community, and this is the same condition that I encountered in the backyards of some of the property owners. It is even worse. Love Christmas moved into her Pine Island home in 2012. She told us she cannot enjoy the use of her backyard. And it's not just hers, her adjacent neighbors. The problem again is the county's drainage system, she says. The water is not moving, and with more rain in the forecast, she fears the worst.
This should not be this wet. Usually a thunderstorm comes through, it's flooding, and it would be drained within a day.
Christmas told me she and her neighbors reached out to the Clay County government for help, so they're on your side. We'll tell you what they said tonight at 6. Back to you.
Ken Amaro, always on your side. Ken, thank you for that report. Well, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office tonight is looking into a deadly hit and run. It happened this morning in West Jacksonville, close to Crystal Springs Elementary School. Officers are looking for whoever hit and killed a man right before 7 o'clock this morning. JSO says that victim was found alive on the sidewalk but died later at the hospital. Now, police have yet to tell us what kind of car they believe hit the man, but if you know anything about this deadly hit and run, please call Crime Stoppers. You could receive up to $3,000 and stay anonymous as well. The number to call, 1-866-845-TIPS. Well, tonight, a Jacksonville Beach chiropractor has been ordered to stay away from all female patients after reports he engaged in sexually inappropriate behavior with a patient for a second time. Now, here is what we know. According to an emergency order by the State Department of Health, Dr. Kenneth Zane Finger was previously ordered to only see female patients in the presence of a chaperone following a complaint that was filed back in 2014. But after investigating a new complaint in March, the state said the doctor failed to show the requisite judgment or good moral character necessary to be a chiropractor. Now, the order cited, quote, his history of sexually abusing patients as reason for his license restriction. I do want to tell you he has not been criminally charged. And now a follow-up to a very disturbing story. The second grade teacher arrested for allegedly having sexually explicit pictures and videos of children. Thomas Missouri Jr., a teacher at Mayport Elementary School, was first arrested in August on 25 charges related to child sexual exploitation. He bonded out of jail only to later be arrested again at the start of the month by federal agents. Missouri Jr. remains in federal custody tonight. Now, in the original search warrant, investigators said that they found some pictures of children at Mayport Elementary School. But at the time, those photos were said to have been non-exploitative. But the later federal complaint suggested otherwise, referencing at least one picture taken of a young girl in which investigators said the camera was aimed up her shorts. Now, it's unsettling to hear for any parent, but especially for Christina Peterman, her 8-year-old daughter was in Mr. Missouri's class last school year. She doesn't know whether her child was in any pictures found by investigators taken by Missouri Jr., but it's worried her enough that she opted not to send her daughter back to brick-and-mortar classrooms this year, to where she now has her daughter learning fully right now online.
Out of all the schools in Duval, you would think, oh, it's never my kids' school, ever. I was going through my mind, and I've lost countless of nights of sleep trying to wrap my head around it.
So you will hear a lot more from Peterman coming up tonight on First Coast News at 6. Also, what we found after digging into Missouri Jr.'s records from the school district.
Well, tonight, 2 people have bonded out of jail after police say they were running an illegal bottle club. So a bottle club is where people bring in their own liquor. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says it received numerous complaints about this nightclub located in the Arlington area. Investigators say they did not find an active license for the sale of alcohol or adult entertainment. Quantanell and Tavares Walker were booked into the Duval County Jail. Well, we told you about this story around this time last night, and we have an update for you. A JSO employee is out of jail on a $50,000 bond. Court documents show Arlisa Tarver is facing 2 felony charges. JSO Undersheriff Pat Ivey says Tarver was the executive assistant to the chief of patrol. He says that she's accused of getting information from JSO's database about criminals and suspects and then sharing that information illegally to civilians, including felons.
She is notifying individuals out there on the street that are wanted for murder. So if an officer comes in contact with them, let's say for running a stop sign, it wouldn't be a far stretch to put that's putting that officer in danger.
And Tarver is the 6th JSO employee arrested this year. JSO says she will be fired.
Right now, we're on your side, putting the curve in context for you this evening. We're tracking the latest new cases in Florida, 2,300 added. And if you look at the curve there, we're always following that dotted line. You can see it's been trending downward, but it has flattened just a bit over the last week. Now let's look at testing across Florida. The statewide numbers have fallen each week over the past 2 months, except for one. Most recently, the state recorded about 350,000 tests, but that's down, way down from more than 600,000 tests back in mid-July. And now let's look at the number of deaths from COVID reported each day. Yesterday in Florida, reports show 184 lives lost. The state is averaging about 100 deaths a day right now. Coming up tonight at 6, we're going to take a closer look at a trend we are seeing in Duval County as we check out our charts.
And speaking of Duval County, the public school district is reporting another 7 positive COVID-19 cases. So 5 students and 2 staff members, bringing the total since the start of the school year to 58. That's 40 students and 18 staff members. And be sure to stay up to date with all of the changes happening in school districts across the region. You can get the latest information. We will send it straight to your phone. All you have to do is text us. Text the word school to 904-633-8808, and we will get that information right over to you.
Well, the sounds of normalcy are particularly appreciated in these strange times, and starting tonight, the Jacksonville Symphony Orchestra makes a welcome return to live performance. And for the first time in 6 months, the symphony will take the stage for a sold-out and socially distanced concert. On your side's Don White takes a closer look at how they plan to bring the music back.
This Star Wars concert in February was one of the last the Jacksonville Symphony held.
Before having to close its doors in March due to the coronavirus pandemic, that is changing tonight, and it's music to people's ears.
I'm like a kid in the candy store or an adult in the gelato store.
Jacksonville Symphony CEO Stephen Liebman can't contain his excitement over 2 test concerts Wednesday and Thursday.
It is so exciting to be back because we have been dormant since March, and now we are back. We have 2 open house concerts for the community, which, by the way, are sold out.
The concert will have no intermission. People must wear masks and have their temperatures checked coming in.
We reduced the size of the house from 1,800 to 582. And this way, everybody stays 6 feet apart. Now, if you're coming together as a group of 2 or a group of 4, that group can sit together, but then you will be 6 feet apart from everybody else.
And social distancing also applies to the musicians.
Physical distancing also matters on the stage. We can only fit 54 musicians on the stage. Some of our concerts have over 70 musicians.
We'll have more information on the Jacksonville Symphony schedule and how you can get tickets on our website, firstcoastnews.com. In Jacksonville, Dawn White, First Coast News, on your side.
Teasing you with these tacos, a new restaurant in San Marco East, soon to expand. I'm Exercitis on your side tonight.